Brothers and sisters, welcome back to the Behaviour Revolution Scriptures. My name's Mark, and Yahusha asked me, well, he's been telling me for years, but I didn't want to listen to it because I just didn't feel ready for the task, or just thought I was being delusional. Why on earth would he ask me to do such an absurd thing? And the BYNV is pretty cool. But Yahusha has been putting on my heart for years to redo these scriptures and make them sound as though he was speaking today. Because the context of scripture, the blood covenant of deliverance is eternal. Because Yahusha is alive and lives outside of time. So if Yahusha had chosen to come to earth now and speak, the scriptures and say the same things, Yahusha wouldn't sound like it sounds in scripture. It's like if Yoda and Shakespeare are having a conversation, half the scriptures. The sentences are back to front because Hebrew, the Hebrew language is back to front. It's symbolic and all sorts of stuff. Not pictographic, but it's, the way they interpret it from Hebrew to English, it's just all a big mishmash. So keeping the essence of truth and the instructions, the everlasting living words of Yahusha alive, but speaking today. Speak today. We don't want to use Hebrew words. We want to say in our babbling English tongue, because the English language is the most popular language on the face of the earth. So we're going to use it to make deliverance easy for people. Isn't the pathway, the narrow path of deliverance, hard enough without having all these obstacles of language and listening to teachers gobbledygook and babble on about stuff that is 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years old, and we think, okay, but what does that mean to me today? I've got to go to work in half an hour. What am I supposed to do about this? I love what you've said, and it's great, amazing words, and it's all in Hebrew. And what am I supposed to do now? That's why the Behaviour Revolution has been called to deliver this message as simply as we can in English in the 21st century. That's why we have 3 rules to summarise the scriptures, so that when you go into your workplace, when you're dealing with your wife, your husband, your children, you've got 3 rules in your mind. Just let them have it. Stay away from the conflict, the argument, let them have it, love them, accept them. Don't take anything personally, because that's just going to change your behaviour. You're accepting evil into your vessel, that it's going to be horrible. And don't make excuses, don't tell lies. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. It's a summary of scriptures. And you can find all examples of the rules in scriptures: not taking anything personally, not taking offense, not being a stumbling block, all these things, loving one another, not judging, don't judge. All these things are included. All the scriptures can be included in those 3 rules, and it's completely phenomenal. Anywho, last week, we in our last video, we were talking about, I did a bit of a side video, didn't I, about Yahusha and the amazing article Christopher wrote about Yahusha is alive. He's still a physical, alive. He's got flesh. He's a human being. But in our scripture stories, we were talking about Abraham. Abram became Abram. Abram became Abram. Abram became Abraham, a renewed man, renewed covenant. Then we went down to Yahusha, who visited Abraham while he was sitting under the oak trees. He had a meal with him. He said, I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. So then Abraham stepped in as the negotiator. He talked him down, but he didn't really talk him down, because Yahusha said if he found 10 people who followed his instructions, he would save the city. But alas, he did not. So then he went, and here we go, Sodom and Gomorrah. We're going to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah today. And remember, it's just as the days of Noah, just as the days of Sodom and Gomorrah is today. So, and I said last video, that's why Christopher's been posting all this hideous, wicked stuff, diseases and filth and mental illness and sexual horrible things that are going on in the world, to wake us up to what's really happening. There's urgency, brothers and sisters. We need deliverance desperately. The earth, as in the earth, mankind needs deliverance, because look at the state it's in. Mixing up there's no pure DNA left anymore. None of us have pure DNA. It's all just a mishmash of hybridized rubbish, nation with nation, believer with unbeliever, the goyim with, it's all mixed up, the 12 tribes, have been scattered, mixed in with the nations. They don't know who they are anymore. The lost sheep are scattered. And that's why Yahusha's calling out his bride from the midst of them all. And it doesn't matter what your genealogy, what your lineage, what your blood type or bloodline is, because we're all grafted in. We're all grafted in. Remember, the two sticks will become one. The two houses of Israel will become one. And we're grafted in. Branches were broken off that I may be grafted in. So it's very important. We're all a mixed multitude. We're all a mixed rabble of ridiculous upbringing and behaviours and idolatry and perversions. We come to Yahusha broken, empty, hideous creatures, and we fall at his feet and offer what little we have left. And he takes us. He renews us. He puts us in the water. We go to the water and we come out a new creature, washed clean. Nothing else before exists anymore. Despite what people may say, no, that you're washed clean. And now through the word, you have a relationship with Yahusha through his word, the washing of the water of your word. It washes your mind, and so that your behaviour changes. If your behaviour is not changing, what's the point of all this? So let's go to Sodom and Gomorrah, brothers and sisters. So Yahusha's messengers have just left Abraham, and they've headed to Sodom. Yahusha's two messengers arrived in Sodom that night while Lot, Abraham's nephew, was sitting in the gateway. Remember Lot? He went and moved down near there, and obviously he lives in there now, lives in Sodom. So while Lot was sitting in the gateway, these two messengers arrived. And when Lot saw them, he jumped up to greet them, thinking they were he didn't know they were, messengers or angels. He just thought they were travellers, were guests. And this is how excited people were. This is how hospitable and generous with the time with a visitor, with a guest under your roof. They greeted you, welcomed you, come and wash your feet, have a meal. That's how they felt. And after bowing before them, he tried to hurry them inside, saying, please don't stay out here. It's not safe around here at night. Come into my house and I'll wash your feet and you can eat and go on your way early in the morning. He just thought they were visitors coming through. But he knew how dangerous that city was at night. So he said, quick, come inside, don't stay out here. It's a dangerous place. You don't want to stay out here. But they said, no, it's fine, mate. We'll spend the night out here in the courtyard. But Lot became very worried for them, having been raised in a culture where hospitality came first above all else. And he urged them strongly to come inside. So they agreed and went into the house where Lot and his family made them a feast, baking unleavened bread. It was at the time of Passover. And they all ate together. Before it was time for bed, though, there was a banging on the door. For all of the men of Sodom, young and old, had seen the visitors arrive at Lot's house, and they were filled with depraved, perverse desires. Two visitors can't even walk through the town with all the horny little buggers coming after him, wanting to root him. How depraved was it? I mean, this is what we look at, we see out in the world, isn't it? And we don't want to, we might unfollow things that put that in front of our precious little eyes. We don't want to look on those things. I only want to look on the things of Yahusha. I don't want to be reminded of the filth of the world. Well, that's all well and good, but that's the world that you've been delivered from. Oh, I was never like that. Yeah, you were, sorry. And if you weren't, that perverse in your sexual behaviour, your mind, everybody's mind, there's no such thing as levels of sinfulness, levels of uncleanliness, evil. There's not levels of evil. There's good and evil. So no one can lift up their filthy rags and say, I'm a good person. Just go through each of the 10 commandments, instructions, I should say. Go through the 10 instructions, and we've all broken them. We've all broken them. We've all lied and stolen and not done the Shabbat. No Christian can say they are a good and perfect person, because none of them do the Shabbat, most of them. So anyway, I digress. These men saw them and they were filled, knocking on the door, filled with depraved, perverse desires. They stormed Lot's house, surrounding the premises so that they could all have sex with these new visitors, yelling out to Lot, "Bring out those men who came into your house, Lot. We know they're in there. We saw them go in. Bring them out now so we can have our way with them." These were all men, after men. So yeah, obviously sodomy was rampant. But Lot quickly came out into the courtyard, closing the door behind him, saying, "Come on, guys, don't be so vile. Please go home. These men are special guests in my house, so please don't do this wickedness tonight." He tried to reason with them. What happens when you try to reason with people out there in the drunkenness, in the perverse, drunken state they're in? But they would not back down. So in a desperate attempt to keep his guests away from this savage insanity, Lot offered his daughters to them, saying, "Please, I have 2 daughters who have never been with a man before. Please take them and fulfill all your carnal desires with them. But don't come near these men, please, I beg you." What about that? That might seem, and I've written it further down here, Lot offering his daughters to a gang of rapists sounds harsh to us. But in this ancient Middle Eastern culture, the most important thing was to protect the guests staying under your roof, no matter what. No matter if you had to, because of the honour, because of the shame otherwise, if something happened to a guest that was, you wouldn't be able to live with yourself. He even offered up his children. Here, have sex with them. Another reason this city was destroyed for being so cruel to strangers, so inhospitable and cruel and savage to strangers, innocent people walking through their gates. They wanted to, have an orgy with them, all of them. So let's go back. So Lot's tried to reason with them, offered his daughters. But the crowd of men got more hostile with Lot, saying, "Who the hell are you to call us wicked and vile and judge us? This is our city, Lot. You're just a visitor here. Don't you tell us what to do. Now we're going to take you too and treat you even harsher than these visitors." And they grabbed Lot, pushing him against the house, nearly breaking down the door. So Yahusha's messengers quickly opened the door and, reaching out, they grabbed Lot and brought him back inside the house. Then, with a mighty surge of power from Yahusha, they struck all the attackers with blindness, so that they could no longer make their way around or see the doorway. And they began to disperse from Lot's house, taking their abominable behaviour with them. That's how Yahusha felt about their behaviour, and that's why he was going to destroy, not only because of their sodomy and homosexuality and orgies and party spirit and just their cruelty was one of the main reasons. They were cruel, horrible, evil, wicked people. Lot offering his daughters to a gang of rapists sounds harsh to us, but in this Middle Eastern culture, the most important thing was to protect the guests staying under your roof, no matter what. Another reason this city was destroyed for being so cruel to strangers. And remember, Lot just thought they were people. He didn't know they were from, they were messengers. Not at that point anyway. And the messengers said to Lot, "Do you have any other family here, even distant relatives? Go and get them now and get out of this place, for we have been sent here to destroy this city, for the wickedness has gone on long enough. The blood of all the victims cry out, and the Creator Yahuwah will no longer tolerate it anymore. Get your family and leave now." So Lot ran to his future son-in-law, who had agreed to marry both his daughters soon. So he hadn't married them yet, but they were betrothed. saying, quick, come on, son, we have to get out of here, for Yahuwah is going to destroy the city. Come on, mate, pick up your stuff, let's go. Come on, hurry up. But his son-in-law thought he was a crazy old coot, joking around, and would not take his words seriously at all, for he loved his city life the way it was. Whatever, old man, whatever. Just chill. He just thought he was delusional, silly old coot. So the next morning came. Yahusha's messengers said to Lot, when the next morning came, Yahusha's messengers said to Lot, come on, hurry up, take your wife and daughters and leave the city fast. Otherwise you'll get burnt up along with it. But they still dilly-dallied around. So the messengers took them all by the hand and supernaturally lifted them outside the city gates. For they had compassion on them and didn't want them to be destroyed. And they said to Lot, run for your life and escape. Go and do not look back. And don't stay anywhere even remotely near this place, but escape to the mountains. Otherwise this great judgment of Yahuwah will consume all of you guys too. But Lot didn't like that plan, saying, oh no, master, please no, I can't go and live in the mountains. I'm way too old. I'm a princess. I'm way too old and life will be too hard. I will surely die there. I'm very grateful that you've saved my family and I today, but I can't. Can't I just please, but can't I please just flee to that little village over there? It's not that big a deal, is it? Come on. And the messenger said, okay, we won't destroy that village there called Sodom, because we'll do what you've asked. But please hurry, because we can't start until you get there. Not waiting. We want to destroy this place. Hurry up. Move your ass and hurry up, man. Move. Don't you know we're going to destroy this place? The messengers had urgency, but Lot and his family did not. Yahusha has urgency today. Do we have the same urgency as Yahusha has? Hurry your ass up and get going. Overcome. Get on with it. I want to destroy this earth and I can't yet. But I'm gonna anyway. And as the sun began to rise and Lot and his family entered the little village of Sodom, Yahusha rained down burning fire and sulfur from the sky onto the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, like nothing anyone had ever seen before. Explosions and lava, completely destroying all the inhabitants because of the wicked, abominable behaviour that they committed day and night, right in Yahusha's face. Men with men, women with women, bestiality, orgies, whoring, partying, gluttony, violent cruelty to visitors and the poor, etc. That's the behaviour, and as in the days of Noah, as in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. Look out there. Look at the news, the nightly news. You know, that's the world we live in today, brothers and sisters. It's all happening. And as Lot and his family were escaping, his wife heard the blast of her beloved city and friends being destroyed, and she complained in her heart, longing for the lifestyle she knew and loved. It wasn't just because she looked back. It was because the messengers did say, run and don't look back. But it wasn't just because, it's like the garden. It wasn't just a simple thing. It was because of her heart's desire. It was because of her behaviour. She didn't just stop and look. They were all running and she stopped. She didn't just stop and look back. She longed. She had regret. She longed for the lifestyle she knew and loved. She didn't want to go. She stopped walking with Lot, turned around to look, and for her disobedience she was turned into a statue, a pillar made of salt. Do you understand that, guys? It wasn't just because she's, you're running around, you'd be looking around, might even look back and whatever. It's not because she looked in that direction, it's because she stopped, turned around. was longing in her heart for her old life, of what she was missing out on. People who come to Yahusha with a bargaining agreement saying, oh, I don't want to give up this, and definitely don't want to give up that. And I don't know if I want to go this way because I might not be able, if I do Shabbat, I won't be able to go and do this. They're bargaining. How dare you bargain with the creator of the universe? Who on earth are you? We only come to Yahusha because we're broken, sick and helpless, sinners, wicked, evil people. That's the state we come to Yahusha in. We have nothing to bargain with. We've got nothing. And anything we have from then on in is Yahusha's, that he entrusts us with behavioural qualities or gifts or talents or anything he chooses to put in us, you know. So how dare, that's why people fall away from Yahusha, those that do, because they look at the world and what they've had to give up. Yeah, but what have you gained? Everything you've gained is belief and trust. And when the fire comes, it will be like consummated. You'll know you made the right decision when the fire comes. You know you made the right decision now. What's out in the world that gives you any kind of satisfaction? Any of us who have lived long enough know there's nothing out there to partake of. Sex, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, we've all done it all. What gives you any lasting satisfaction or pleasure? It's all wickedness. It's horrible. Drunk on the wine is the intoxication of the whore. It's all whoring and wickedness. So, where was I? Yeah. Lot's wife turned into a pillar, a statue made of salt for her disobedient behaviour. And Abraham rose up early that morning. And stood in the spot where he had talked with Yahusha. Why did he stand there? Because he felt amazing being in the presence of Yahusha. So he went and stood in the same spot. I'm surprised he didn't build an altar. He went and stood in the same spot, and looking towards the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, he saw all the billowing smoke rising from where the cities had previously stood, like the burning smoke from the hottest furnace. And Abraham knew inside himself, that Yahusha had favoured him and listened to his request, delivering Lot from the destruction of these wicked cities at this appointed time of Passover. Many people believe it was the time of Passover. That's why they were talking about unleavened bread. Not just because they had to leave in a hurry, because it was the appointed time of Passover. And they were told to do it. So, but that's another theory that you can either believe or not believe. But if you do, there was a little bit of a mini family deliverance that happened at Passover. It's nice, isn't it? Abraham knew that Yahusha had favoured him and listened to his request, delivering his nephew. Then we come to Lot's sneaky little daughters. So Lot's gone to the city of Sodom. Lot became afraid to live in the city of Sodom, so he and his two daughters moved and dwelt in the mountains. Isn't that what the messenger said to do? Oh, I can't possibly go and live in the mountains. I'm way too old. It'll be too uncomfortable. Despite what you've just been delivered from, a burning smoke and sulphur and fire and brimstone coming down on your city, you've been delivered. Oh, I can't live in the mountains. Where is he now? He's gone to live in the mountains because city life was too hard. So he was afraid to live in the city of Sodom, so he and his two daughters moved and dwelt in the mountains as Yahusha's messengers had originally told him. And they lived together in the caves of the mountain. And Lot's firstborn daughter said to the younger, "Our father is very old, and look, there are no other men around here to give us children. What else are we supposed to do? Let's get our father very drunk tonight and lay with him, so that we can have children and continue the family through him." Now we, in our 21st century mind, just go, ew, sleeping with you, having sex with your own father. Times were very different back then. And I've written here in the turquoise, inter-family procreation was a normal practice in this era because increasing their descendants was of the highest priority. And there were no birth defects in these early generations, as there are today if families interbreed. Can't do it today. I don't think you can go further than your cousin or your second cousin. You can probably go further than that, but if it's your cousin, you can't even sleep with your cousin these days because of genetics. There's a higher chance of having Down syndrome or retardation, in the children. So that was their plan. Let's get our father drunk, let's sleep with him, and let's have children through him. Let's continue the family, the bloodline. So Lot's daughters ate with their father that night and gave him lots of wine, so that he became very drunk. And the firstborn daughter went in and slept with her father, for he was not conscious enough to know when she entered and lay down, or when she left him afterwards. And the next night they did the same thing again, so that the younger daughter could lay with her father too. And both daughters became pregnant by their father, and when they gave birth, the older daughter called her son Moab, father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger daughter called her son Ben-Ami, father of the Ammonites to this day. So that's just a little story there to let us know that Lot's daughters continued and that their children turned into nations, the Moabites and the Ammonites. Then we come to Sarah's brother. Sarah's brother. And Abraham moved further down south from Mamre to Beersheba, dwelling in the king of Gerar's territory. And these were a people who did not fear or obey Yahusha. So once again, Abraham told them that Sarah was his sister, so that they didn't kill him, just to have her for themselves. And sure enough, the Abimelech, that was his title, not his name, that was a title, the Abimelech, like the president, the Pharaoh, the Abimelech. I am the Abimelech. So sure enough, the Abimelech, the king of Gerar, took Sarah to be his wife. And Yahusha appeared to him in a dream, informing him of her true identity. The Abimelech, whose conscience was clean, for he had not laid a hand on her yet, gave her back to Abraham and gave him cattle, servants, and 1,000 pieces of silver to make the situation right. So what must have Yahusha said to him? And after, that's what happened, yeah. All the women were barren because of what the Abimelech had done. The women became barren, couldn't have any children. That was a curse. Once again, someone tampered with Yahusha's bride. Someone tampered with the bride, and there were plagues that followed. Yeah? There's a whole pattern that's going to follow through the scriptures of this concept. You tamper with my bride, I'm going to punish you. Keep your hands off my bride, the apple of my eye. So, and the same today. Anyone who distresses the bride gets distressed 100-fold, So all the women became barren. So after Abraham prayed, Yahusha allowed the women in Abimelech's house to fall pregnant again. For he had previously cursed them all because he had taken Sarah. Taken something that's not his. I'm going to see it happen many times. We saw it happen in Egypt with Abraham before, in our last video. Plagues came on the Pharaoh and on his nation because he wanted to take Sarah as his wife. So then he kicked him out. It's happened again here with the Abimelech, king of Gerar. Took her as his wife. Hadn't slept with her yet, hadn't consummated. But plagues came. So got rid of them. So brothers and sisters, we're going to leave it there. And in our next video, we're going to go into the life of Yitzhak, the covenant son. Yahusha gave Abraham and Sarah a son. We're going to go into that next episode. So I want you to be aware of the signs of the times. We don't know the day or the hour, but we do know, just as Noah knew, that the rain was coming. So he prepared by building an ark. We prepare by overcoming this world. That doesn't mean we grow long beards and we wear robes and zeets and go and live up in the hills and stink like bloody hippies. No, we have to live in this world. I mean, if none of us had to work and had to support our families, great. Yeah, who wouldn't want to get away from the world? and live in somewhere away from everybody. But the truth is, we have to eat and we have to survive, so we have to provide for our families and work this system that we're in. Because the truth of the matter is, we are slaves to this system. We all pay an exorbitant amount of taxes, and if you leave the system and go live in a caravan somewhere, you've got that inconvenience. Some people prefer that. But if we have to work this system, tarry on until Yahusha comes back. So be aware of your surroundings, brothers and sisters. That's the real true meaning of Nazarene. Apart from being branches and first fruit, we are watchmen. We are watching what's going on in the world, waiting, standing on the wall of our families, of our homes, trying to get our unclean spirits away all the time. So be aware. That's why Christopher's posting all this hideous stuff online, because he wants people to realise and be aware that Yahusha could come back any time. So, with fire. But Yahusha's bride will be delivered above the fire. Through the fire, above the fire, they will be shedding their flesh to take on immortal bodies, transformed in the twinkle of an eye. And we will have bodies like Yahusha, first fruit bodies like Yahusha has. He's alive today in us. But he has a physical body too, like we will. A physical / spiritual body that can walk between the dimensions. Imagine being able to go into other dimensions. Imagine being able to know and go beyond this universe. I'll leave you with that, brothers and sisters. Amazing. It's all about love. It's all about the blood covenant of deliverance. And if you're in it, rejoice. See you later.